Hi everyone, I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to this edition of CountyLine. Building permit values in Allen County have exceeded $1 billion for the third consecutive year. This revelation may not have surprised county officials, but they probably did not expect that mark to be reached so soon in 2019. According to data from the County Building Department, building permit values for Allen County totaled $1.18 billion as of August 27th. Now consider it took nearly all of 2017 to reach $1 billion and about 11 months to accomplish the feat last year. Here's what the county commissioners and representatives from the residential and commercial construction industry had to say about the county's continuing billion-dollar boom.
Thank you for being here today. It's a pleasure to stand here today and talk about what we're going to talk about. It used to be that we would judge ourselves about how close to $1 billion we would come in development in this community. And I remember talking with some former mayors back in the early 2000s. They'd say, you know, this is the year we're going to do it, and this is the year we're going to do it. But they never did. And so now instead of talking about the $1 billion mark, the key benchmark these days is how quickly we're going to hit that $1 billion benchmark. If you look at by December 1st, 2017, we hit the $1 billion development mark for the first time in the county's history. You know, we wouldn't have done this with folks like Jeff Wilson, Mr. Wilhelm, Beth Johnson, Dan Votaw, Rob Young, Mark and Harrison Haller, and I know I'm missing people, and I feel bad every time I embark down this path, but I apologize for that. Point is, it takes a whole lot of people to get us there, from a residential side to a commercial side and to a government side as well. In 2018, we hit $1 billion for the second time, but 5 days earlier on November 21st, as I recall. This year, already in the first part of August, we hit our $1 billion mark. So we've got a lot to be proud of in this community, and it just speaks to the good things that are happening in the Allen County community. This year, so far, about 1,300 more permits have been issued by the building department than at this time last year. Let's talk commercial permits for just a second. We're at $861.4 million in the value of commercial permits compared to $632.9 million for 2017. While the total number of permits is actually down by about 600 so far this year, you can clearly see that the value of the permits means bigger and better projects. Let's talk about some of the commercial development and where it's occurring. It's occurring in places like Parkview, who have announced 171,000 square foot expansion for a medical office building. Sweetwater, 320,000 square feet of office and warehouse expansion. P&B Cold Storage, 97,275 square feet of warehouse and office expansion. Northwest Allen County Schools, 114,497 square feet in a new elementary school building. Looking ahead to 2020, and I'm going to ask some of these guys to speak to this in just a minute. We've got Homestead High School, we've got Lutheran Hospital, we've got Glenbrook Square. Let's talk residential for just a second. We've got $324.3 million worth of value now in permits, as opposed to only $292.2 million this time last year. We're up almost 2,000 total permits that have been issued over this time last year. We've got 45 primary development plans totaled in the first 3 quarters of 2019. 35 are in Fort Wayne, 10 are in Allen County. We've got 22 primary plats that have been submitted to the Department of Planning Services in the first 3 quarters of 2019. 10 are in Fort Wayne, 12 are in the rest of Allen County. Let's talk total building permits between January 1st and August 27th of 2019 and talk about where they're being issued. The city of Fort Wayne has issued 11,215 permits for a total value of $600.7 million. Outside of Fort Wayne, there have been 7,602 permits issued for a $546.2 million value. Now that would also include New Haven and Cedarville. But what you can see from that is that we've got fairly balanced growth in this community between what's happening in Fort Wayne and what's happening outside of Fort Wayne. Online permits, something in just a second I'm going to ask John Kaywood, our building commissioner, to speak to, is something that we continue to push to make it easier on the staff so they can process permits more quickly and tend to some of the other concerns that developers and builders and others using the permit system in this community have, as well as just making it easier for the building community. In 2018, we had 8,897 permits at this time last year, for a total of 49.3% of all permits that had come through our online process. Right now, to date, we've got 10,574 permits, or 45.4% of all permits that have come through on the online process. Now, why is all of this continuing to happen? Well, it's going to continue to happen for a number of reasons that I want to have a few other folks address at this point. And what I'd like to do is start with our building commissioner, John Kaywood, to talk about some of the technological innovations that have gotten us to this point and maybe what the future looks like. John?
Thank you. Well, it's September now, but August, wow. We're really drinking from the fire hose, and I'm sure you can see it on the faces of everybody who's over here. I just really want to thank the commissioners for being very forward-thinking and knowing that technology is important, and we cannot do what we're doing without the technology. Also, County Council for approving the expenditure on the technology that we do need to do the instant permits, to do the online activity that we do, and giving us the extra personnel. We have roughly 20 inspectors daily doing approximately 300 inspections. So no sooner do we clear the board and it's filling back up. A day off like yesterday just puts us a little bit farther behind. But through the innovation that we have, as long as cooperation with everybody that's pictured over here to the right, people have just been so willing to participate in this and go out of their way to try things that may work, may not work, but just everybody's really willing to see things grow in the county. I think one of the greatest examples I'll use, I was talking to Rob from Hagerman earlier, and see, they were downtown before. It's cool to be downtown, but I think with the, it's so nice to be able to walk down, or you're 2 minutes and you're there to be able to discuss things. But I do want to talk about something that's exciting now that I think is going to be great for our community. And we have Harrison and Mark Heller from Heller Homes here that are moving their offices from outside down to downtown to be on the 4th floor at the corner of Berry and Ewing. Yes. And working with them right now, neat Art Deco building, terrazzo. It's all the things that really give a city life. And to see that coming back down and seeing a new generation be here to work on that prosperity is really exciting to me. So we're going to continue to drink from the fire hose, but it's a really good thing, and I'm excited about what next year will bring.
Thanks, John. We don't get where we've gotten to at this particular point without building a lot of places for people to live in this community. I know that Beth Johnson and her leadership of the Home Builders Association has helped corral these folks and has helped get us to where we've gotten to today. So Beth, thanks for your partnership there. And John mentioned it just briefly. Mark and Harrison Haller have been critical to helping actually construct these homes in our community. And so to speak to how we've gotten here and maybe what the future looks like in residential home building, I'm going to ask Harrison to make a few comments.
I'd just like to thank the commissioners and John Kaywood for really acting as a team here and making all of the building that we're doing and all the other builders here in Fort Wayne allowable to move at the pace that we need to. A lot of that comes from a lot of the transparency that John provides with his inspectors and working with the builders so that we're not waiting 3 days for an inspection and we can get answers, when we need them to make sure that we're able to keep things rolling. A lot of this growth, I think, comes from making Fort Wayne a place where people my age want to move to or stay at and raise their family, whether it be downtown or in the new subdivisions that are surrounding downtown. And I think that growth will certainly continue. The shortage of homes in Fort Wayne, there's not a lack of that shortage, so we're doing everything that we can to continue to replenish the market. And like I said, with the help of John and the commissioners, we're able to do that with the new developments and the new homes throughout the city.
Thanks, Harrison. And part of the reason that we need homes for all of these people is because of so much of the commercial development that's going on in this community. It's been split close to 50-50 over the last couple of years. I will say this year in 2019 so far that the commercial side of things is eking out over the residential, at least through August 27th of this year. We've asked Rob Young, who's been such a critical part of the success in this community, to speak a little bit about where we've been and what 2020 may bring. Rob?
Thanks, Commissioner Peters, Commissioner Brown, and Beck. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Building Commissioner Kaywood, thanks again. Rob Young with the Hagerman Group, happy to speak on behalf of all of our fellow general contractors, construction managers, and design builders here in the county and in the region. As you have heard, and the slides don't lie, 2019 has been a great year. Not only in healthcare and education, as Commissioner Peters said, but also on the industrial and on the corporate side, as we call it, which is a fancier name, I guess, for commercial retail activity in the construction world. In addition to what you saw on the slide, we've been honored to be participating in projects at DuPont Hospital, Randalia, Parkview Randalia. On the education side, Homestead was on the screen. That'll be a project that really carries through for about the next 4 years, and Jay Wilhelm, who's with me, has headed up our efforts on the Homestead project. Northwest Allen County Schools, you saw it on the slide, they have another bid, RFP response, I should say, due tomorrow for yet another school in the Northwest District. We're proud to have just wrapped up New Haven Junior Senior High School in the East Allen District. And many of you have been reading about and hearing about Fort Wayne Community Schools' next round of improvements as they continue to upgrade what was years ago an aging building inventory to what's now a very solid building inventory for Fort Wayne Community Schools. Can't help but mention a project just a couple of blocks away. The Boutique Hotel project is going very strong. The weather lately has helped us after a pretty wet spring. And we're honored to be doing another shell building project. We've had particular success both within the city and in the county with our shell building program. And I can't speak enough about that at both the city and the county level for putting in place the incentives that drive that inventory program. Harrison talked about inventory on the housing side. We need it on the industrial side as well. So suffice it to say, things look really good for the balance of 19 and into 20. We've all been hearing lately lots of talk about a recession. We certainly hope that's not a self-fulfilling prophecy. And perhaps a small amount of evidence, we're very strong right now in bookings for 2020 as well. I'd say about half of our capacity already is spoken for the year 2020, and we just crossed into September of 19, so we're excited about that. A couple of other comments. One is I talked about the city and the county on the Shell building side. Thanks also to the General Assembly. We now have permanent programs, especially for municipal and K-12 building, that allow for lots of different delivery methods for projects, be it the traditional design bid build or now construction management and progressive design build. And our legislature is, I believe, very forward-thinking in giving school districts, airports, libraries, and others a lot of choices on how to attack projects, and we can talk more about that offline if you'd like. The other thing I'll say is this is a great indication of where future jobs lie. There are awesome jobs in the architecture, design, engineering, and construction fields, and we certainly encourage parents and kids as they're going through school to take a look at all of the companies that it takes to produce the slides like Commissioner Peters just shared with us. Great opportunities that right now are going unfulfilled, and we desperately need good, talented individuals with a strong desire to take advantage of very good jobs in our industry. So appreciate again the opportunity to chat this morning. Happy to talk later about delivery methods and what have you. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Much appreciated. You know, Rob did mention shovel-ready sites and spec buildings and that type of thing. A lot of this wouldn't be done without the preparation that the county has to go through to ensure that there are places that people want to land. So to talk about some of where we've been in the past year regarding redevelopment and what 2020 might look like is Redevelopment Commission President and Allen County Commissioner Rich Beck.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. A great deal of momentum taking place here in Allen County. Obviously, the numbers indicate that. What we're looking into the future is the number of projects that come across our desk and the interest level that continues to be there. We're right now looking at several opportunities for land acquisition. As you recall, Stonebridge Business Park across from General Motors is a county project, and still have some property for sale there, but we also have properties that we're looking at right now under appraisal. The incentive programs we've had in place have been very effective. We're also finding that we need to reevaluate those incentive programs and look for other opportunities. So you'll see some changes coming in that direction. I would echo Rob's comments about the job market that's out there, very strong. I think our economy is very strong. I'm not an economist, but a recession probably is inevitable at some point in time. But I think you'll see it'll have minimum impact on Allen County because of the strength that's taking place here, the momentum that's occurred, and the group of folks here, plus others that have come together to see this thing through. So keep an eye on what's going on because it's going to continue. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Beck. You know, we've talked about a lot of pieces of this puzzle so far this morning, from residential to industrial and commercial to redevelopment and just everything that's necessary to drive this community forward. It wouldn't happen unless there was somebody to help tie those things together. Greater Fort Wayne Incorporated has been an integral part of creating that tie. To give sort of a macro perspective on, again, where we've been and his perspective of what 2020 may look like, I'd like to invite President and CEO of Greater Fort Wayne, Inc., John Urbans, up to make a few comments.
Well, I thank the commissioners for having me here today. One of the great things about my job is we get to be the salesperson for Fort Wayne and Allen County. We get to go out and talk to businesses about why they should be here, why they should expand here. And it makes it much easier when we've got a team like this working with us. And that team includes the county commissioners, the building department, the contractors, both at the residential and commercial side. You talk about laying the groundwork and what Commissioner Beck talked about with acquiring land and putting up shell buildings. That has helped us propel the momentum we have here in the community. When you look at what's happened over the last couple years, obviously we've seen a lot of growth in the building permits. Over the last 18 months, we've been in the top 5 in Realtor.com for the hottest housing market. And just a couple of weeks ago, we were named the #1 housing market within the U.S. It's very evident by what's going on here in the building and construction side. So we've laid a lot of the groundwork. We've had a lot of deals that we've pulled together. When I say we, I'm talking about the community, and it's a partnership of all the agencies working together. But I'll tell you, looking at the rest of 2019, we've had a strong 2019 for new projects. We've got a strong pipeline in what we're working on right now, trying to land for the community, and I believe that we'll have a strong 2020 as well. So it's easy to go out and talk about how the building, John talked about, Kaywood talked about the online permits and the changes that have been made to the permitting process. As we're talking to clients from out of market or within the market here in Fort Wayne, Allen County, the improvements that have been made from online permitting to just the new projects meeting where developers can come into the room, sit down with all the permitting agencies. They know what's expected. People, when they're looking to build, they're looking for transparency and they're looking for things to happen the same each time. And we've got that here, working with the building department, the Department of Planning Services. I just can't say enough. The improvements we've made in the last several years has helped lead to the momentum that we're seeing, and I think will help carry us forward moving into the future. So we look forward to continuing to work on that, and thanks for having us today.
Thanks, John. You talked about the partnerships and the collaboration that is absolutely essential to move a community like this forward. It's creating great things on an economic development front here in Allen County. There's probably nobody who's any more passionate about these types of partnerships and the things that are happening in Allen County than Commissioner Therese Brown. I'm going to ask her to sort of close this out. Commissioner?
Thank you, Commissioner Peters. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, Commissioners Beck, and Peters, and myself, kudos. I mean, to coin the phrase, it takes a village. It truly does take a village. There are so many demands, not only on the government, but on the private sector to try to deliver product to those that need it, whether it's for housing, commercial development, industrial development. Everyone stepping up to the plate in partnership is astounding. And as these numbers indicate, it's just amazing that not only 1 year, 2 years, but 3 years in a row that we have been able to meet $1 billion in potential for our community. I would be remiss in saying, you know, not being a doom and gloom, because we don't want that, but where does it stop? I don't think it's going to stop. I think we're going to continue in this community and potentially in this region to continue to grow because of the individuals that stand before you today that are committed not only from a technological standpoint and trade aspect, but the professional aspect of trying to make sure that there is constant quality product that is being put out there for those to enjoy in our community and in the region. And again, what a better place to be than to be at not only $1 billion, but 3 years in a row. So on behalf of the Board of Commissioners and those present, again, thank you for everyone being here, but we will be happy to take any questions that you have, and thank you as well for being here. Thank you.
And that will do it for this edition of County Line. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office. Thanks for watching, and we hope you'll join us again next time on County Line.